If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and one of the latest storylines shaking up the rumor mill involves none other than rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Drafted by the Cleveland Browns, Sanders has been turning heads during training camp, showcasing an arm strength and poise that many scouts believed would take at least a year to develop. But now, just weeks away from the preseason opener, his name is being linked to a potential blockbuster trade. And not just any trade, we're talking about the New Orleans Saints possibly making a move for the promising signal caller. While Sanders is still battling for snaps in Cleveland, the fact that his name is surfacing in trade talks suggests his preseason performance could set off a domino effect across the league. The idea that Sanders could be on the move before, playing a single regular season snap is gaining traction, thanks in part to some high-profile voices in the football world. One of the loudest voices stirring this speculation is none other than former NFL cornerback Asante Samuel. During a recent podcast appearance, Samuel didn't mince words when praising Sanders. He referenced a closed-door scrimmage where Sanders went 9 for 9 with 2 touchdowns, and he confidently stated that performances like that will not go unnoticed. According to Samuel, if Sanders puts up similar numbers during the Browns' preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers on August 8th, teams with uncertainty at quarterback will be lining up to call Cleveland. Among those teams, Samuel dropped the New Orleans Saints as a prime candidate. His exact words? Oh man, this might be the first time we see in history that something bizarre happens where a team tries to make a trade for him. He even included the Indianapolis Colts as a possible suitor, but it was the mention of the Saints that really got fans buzzing. Now, let's talk about the Saints. At first glance, it might seem like New Orleans is already set at quarterback. They drafted Tyler Shough in the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft and have Spencer Rattler also in the mix. Shough, who was taken a full 3 rounds ahead of Shedeur Sanders, is widely considered to be their developmental project for the future. But here's where things get interesting. Despite Shough's higher draft pedigree, insiders suggest he hasn't exactly set the world on fire in early training sessions. Meanwhile, Rattler has shown flashes of brilliance, but has yet to demonstrate the consistency that the Saints coaching staff craves. This opens the door, even if just slightly, for an unexpected addition at the position, especially if that player offers a unique blend of upside and star power. Enter Shedeur Sanders, who brings both in spades. What makes Sanders so intriguing isn't just his arm talent or athletic ability, it's the mental toughness and leadership he developed during his college career at Colorado under the guidance of his father, Deion Sanders. That father-son connection helped shape Shedeur into more than just a playmaker. He became a leader, a locker room presence, and someone capable of handling the immense pressure that comes with being a high-profile athlete. If he shows that same presence during Cleveland's preseason slate, the buzz will only intensify. NFL teams don't just look for guys who can throw a tight spiral, they want quarterbacks who can command a huddle and elevate everyone around him. That's the intangible that Sanders possesses, and that's why teams like the Saints might be willing to take a swing at acquiring him, even if it means reshuffling their current depth chart. Of course, it's not as simple as just wanting a player. Trades in the NFL, especially those involving young quarterbacks, are layered with complications. For starters, the Browns would have to be willing to part with Sanders, a big if considering how promising he's looked so far. Cleveland is currently carrying 4 quarterbacks on its roster, including fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel. There's a scenario in which the Browns decide to thin the room and move one of their young passes, especially if they want to solidify depth in other areas of the roster. But giving up Sanders after spending valuable resources to draft and develop him might not sit well internally. The front office and coaching staff likely see his potential, and unless the return package is overwhelming, it's hard to imagine them letting go of a player who could be part of their long-term plans. Then there's the issue of fit in New Orleans. If the Saints did make a move for Sanders, it would be a clear sign that they're not entirely sold on their current quarterback options. That would raise eyebrows considering the investment they made in Tyler Shough just a few months ago. It could also spark a quarterback competition in camp, which sometimes helps a team but can also muddy the waters when trying to build cohesion. However, what can't be ignored is the Saints' desperate need for stability under center. Since Drew Brees retired, the franchise has been searching for its next face of the offense. And while Show and Rattler offer potential, neither has the national profile or charisma that Sanders already brings to the table. That marketability, combined with his raw talent, could make him an ideal fit for a city that loves stars. It's also worth noting that the Saints aren't the only team rumored to have an eye on Sanders. The Indianapolis Colts, as mentioned by Asante Samuel, could be another team to watch closely. Their quarterback situation remains fluid despite drafting Anthony Richardson, and depth at that position is always a concern in today's NFL. Sanders presents a rare opportunity, a player with top-tier talent who might be available before his value skyrockets. That's the kind of situation that makes general managers pick up the phone. And if a bidding war begins, Cleveland could find itself with the leverage to demand a significant return, perhaps a combination of picks and a player, making the idea of a trade a lot more appealing than it initially seemed. After all, football is a business, and business is always about timing. As for Sanders himself, he hasn't said much publicly about the speculation, which isn't surprising. Most rookies are coached to stay quiet, focus on the playbook, and let their performance do the talking. But make no mistake, he's aware. Athletes today are more connected than ever, and you can bet Sanders knows that his performance against the Panthers on August 8th could shape his NFL future. A flawless showing would only fuel the trade rumors, especially if it highlights his mobility, decision-making, and ability to extend plays. NFL scouts and executives will be watching every snap, not just for what he does on the field, but how he handles pressure. One strong outing could be the spark that ignites serious trade discussions, especially with the Saints reportedly keeping close tabs on the situation. Cleveland, for its part, is in a precarious position. If Sanders performs too well, they could risk losing him to a team willing to pay a premium. If he struggles, they might regret not moving him when his value was at its peak. It's the classic NFL dilemma. Hold on to a player with promise and risk losing out on valuable assets, or trade him and possibly watch him blossom into a star elsewhere. The Browns have to weigh those options carefully. Given their history of quarterback instability, they might prefer to err on the side of caution and keep all their young arms in the building. But the reality is, if a team like the Saints comes knocking with a strong offer, it'll be hard not to listen, especially if they believe Sanders has more potential than planned. In the end, this story will come down to performance and pressure, both on and off the field. If Shedeur Sanders continues to shine in practice and carries that momentum into the preseason, the narrative around him will shift from developmental prospect to immediate contributor. That kind of rise always comes with noise, trade rumors, media attention, and front office speculation. For the Saints, it's a chance to potentially land a quarterback of the future before the rest of the league catches on. For the Browns, it's a test of patience and long-term planning. And for Sanders, it's the start of what could be a defining chapter in his young career. Whether he stays in Cleveland or ends up wearing black and gold, one thing is clear. Everyone will be watching when August 8 rolls around. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Rumors are swirling around the NFL world this week, and at the center of it all is none other than Odell Beckham Jr. That's right. After a roller coaster career that's taken him from the bright lights of New York to the Super Bowl winning Rams, OBJ is now being linked once again to the Cleveland Browns. Sources close to the situation are suggesting that Beckham Jr. has been in contact with key members of the Browns organization, and what started as friendly conversations may have evolved into something much more serious. While nothing is confirmed, whispers from both camps are growing louder, and if these rumors are true, it could mark one of the most unexpected reunions in recent NFL memory. For fans of the Browns who remember the tension and disappointment that marked Odell's first stint in Cleveland, the idea of his return is both shocking and, for some, utterly confusing. Still, excitement is in the air. Let's rewind the clock for a moment. Odell Beckham Jr.'s first tenure in Cleveland wasn't exactly a fairy tale. After being traded from the Giants in 2019, expectations were sky high. Paired with Baker Mayfield on Jarvis Landry, fans believed the Browns finally had the offensive firepower to compete with the elite teams in the league. But injuries inconsistent, quarterback play, and off-field drama plagued OBJ's time there. His chemistry with Mayfield never really clicked, and the infamous father-driven Instagram saga, where Beckham's dad posted a video highlighting how often his son was open but ignored, put a massive spotlight on the dysfunction in the locker room. Eventually, things soured to the point of no return, and ODELL was released, later signing with the Rams, where he found redemption and a championship ring. Given all this history, why on earth would both parties consider getting back together? That's the question shaking Browns Nation right now. The answer might be more complex than it seems. First and foremost, it's not the same Browns team anymore. Baker Mayfield is long gone, and the franchise has doubled down on Deshaun Watson as their quarterback of the future. With Watson under center, the offensive system has evolved, and there's a clear emphasis on giving elite wide receivers the opportunity to shine. From what insiders are saying, Beckham Jr. sees Cleveland as a place where he can truly rewrite his legacy, turning a bitter ending into a triumphant return. And let's not ignore the practical factors. The Browns still need a consistent WR2. To pair with Amari Cooper, and with OBJ now healthier than he's been in years, this reunion may actually make a lot of football sense. Whether it makes emotional sense, though, is a completely different story. And fans are currently at war over it on social media. Go to any Browns fan forum or Twitter thread right now and you'll see the battlefield. One half of the fan base is absolutely ecstatic. For them, this is a redemption arc worth watching. They believe that OBJ, with the right quarterback and in a better locker room culture, could thrive in Cleveland like he never did before. Never gave him a real chance, one fan posted. We wasted his prime years with a QB who didn't see the field. Now's our time to get it right. Others point to his experience and his postseason production as reasons why he deserves another shot. There's a belief that with Watson healthy and the offensive line holding steady, ODELL could be the missing piece that takes Cleveland over the top. For these fans, bringing OBJ back is not just a bold move, it's the smartest one the Browns could make this offseason. But of course, not everyone is singing Kumbaya. The other half of the fan base remembers the chaos, the tension, the drama, and they want no part of it again. We moved on. Why go backward? Another fan tweeted, echoing the sentiment of many. These skeptics argue that OBJ's return could disrupt the chemistry of a team that's already trying to find its identity. They worry about locker room distractions, about a media circus, and about the inevitable questions that would swirl around every incomplete pass. More than anything, they fear that the Browns are chasing a name, not production. And with younger receivers hungry for reps, some believe bringing in a veteran like ODELL could actually hinder development. It's not just skepticism, it's genuine anxiety about reliving the emotional roller coaster that OBJ always seems to bring with him. Adding fuel to the fire are comments from current Browns players, some of whom have dropped cryptic posts on Instagram that fans are dissecting like ancient scrolls. A few wide receivers have posted emojis of eyes and clocks, hinting at something big coming. Deshaun Watson, known for being tight-lipped, liked a post about OBJ's potential return. And that alone has sent Reddit threads into a frenzy. Then there's Amari Cooper, who in a recent interview said he'd be open to anything that helps the team win. That non-committal but telling statement has been interpreted as a subtle endorsement of Beckham's return. Even head coach Kevin Stefanski, when asked about a possible reunion, gave a classic, "We're always looking to improve our roster" response, which in NFL speak is far from a denial. All signs point to serious discussions behind the scenes, whether fans are ready or not. Now let's talk about ODELL himself. He's been relatively quiet lately, but those close to him say he's been training harder than ever. After his stint with the Ravens didn't go quite as planned, OBJ is hungry to prove he's still got something left in the tank. He's reportedly been in phenomenal shape and mentally focused on securing one more meaningful run before calling it a career. For Beckham, Cleveland might represent unfinished business, a chance to turn boo birds into cheers and doubters into believers. He's always been about the spotlight, the story, the drama. And what better narrative than returning to the city where he was once cast out and becoming its hero? In his mind, it might not just be a football decision, it could be a legacy. Move! And if the Browns are willing to open that door, he just might walk through it. NFL insiders, of course, are watching all this unfold with bated breath. Many believe the groundwork for this reunion has been in place for weeks, maybe even months. From joint off-season workouts to low-key visits to Cleveland, OBJ and the Browns have reportedly been flirting with the idea under the radar. The timing makes sense too. With training camps ramping up and injuries starting to pile up across the league, teams are looking for experienced playmakers. Beckham isn't the same 2014 version of himself, but he's still got elite hands, sharp route running, and the ability to pull off the spectacular. And if Cleveland wants to make a push in the brutal AFC North, adding a weapon like him could be the kind of gamble that pays off big. But it's not without risk. Emotionally, financially, and strategically, this could either go very right or very, very wrong. Interestingly, league executives are also speculating on the kind of deal ODELL might command. At this stage in his career, he's not looking for a long-term commitment. Word is, he's seeking a one-year incentive-heavy deal, something that gives him a shot to shine without locking either party into a long marriage. For Cleveland, that's a palatable risk. It minimizes cap implications while offering a potential high reward. Some believe incentives could include bonuses for games played, receptions, touchdowns, and even playoff appearances. For ODELL, it's a bet on himself, and he's made those before. The Browns have cap flexibility, and if Beckham truly wants this, he might even take a hometown discount. It's a far cry from the mega deal he once signed with the Giants. But at this point, it's about proving he still belongs at the top level of the sport. So where does this leave us? Right in the middle of NFL speculation season, where facts and rumors blend into one big buzzing narrative. As it stands, Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't signed with the Browns yet, but the signs are there and the noise is growing. For a franchise that spent decades searching for relevance and consistency, this could either be the next step forward or a painful relapse into dysfunction. But one thing is certain, this story has legs. Whether you're a die-hard Browns fan, an OBJ believer, or just someone who loves drama with your football, you'll want to keep your eyes glued to this one. Because if Beckham really is headed back to Cleveland, it won't just be another transaction. It'll be a cultural earthquake for the league. And love it or hate it, everyone's going to be talking about it. Stay tuned. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you like the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!